Hello and welcome to the BeeRPad. We have a great show for you today. We're going to talk a little bit about the Oscars, a lot about Ted Lasso, and we'll go on our usual tangents. Of course, as with me,
As usual with Ray today is me, Marcus. So there you go. He's Ray. I'm Marcus. Neither of our mouths are working because
yes,
some of us are either tired from being hungover, or some of us are just tired from being old and having to do physiotherapy. So yes, we will crack on. We have a busy show. We're going to talk about Ted Lasso. We're going to talk about the Oscars in a minute, and we're going to touch base on The Mandalorian, and we will talk about my progress on if I've been watching Star Wars Rebels after Paul and Ray spent so much time trying to convince me.
a grand 45 minutes edited into 37.
Yes, welcome to the BeeRPad.
So the Oscars was last night and Ted Lasso is tomorrow. Let's talk about the Oscars first. What did you think of the show?
Well, it certainly wasn't as controversial as last year. No slap happy chappies.
Yeah.
No getting jiggy with the palm of the fist. I actually thought for once it was a little something for everybody and hit most of the right notes. I can't say I've seen all the movies, but I had seen several of them, obviously including Everything Everywhere All at Once, which was the big winner. And actually, the wife and I had rewatched it on Friday night. And considering I can't remember anything so innovative in a long time, I thought it deserved every accolade that went its way, including the very controversial Best Supporting Actress, which went to Jamie Lee Curtis over our Queen of Wakanda, Angela Bassett. And there's a lot of people saying that, really upset with that. And I can understand that, but and I suppose we should talk about that. I mean, let's get that hot spot out the way first. What did you think when Angela Bassett didn't win?
That was a tough one. I mean, to me, it's a coin flip, I mean, they're both deserving. I favored Angela Bassett because I thought she just crushed that role. But I do think the Academy has a bias against that type of movie in general. So
they did give the I mean, it is bizarre to me that they gave what's his name the award for the very, very overrated and pretty useless Joker movie from a couple of years ago. Hated that movie with a passion. Tried to rewatch it, hated even more. I think the problem is no matter how good Angela Bassett was as the role of Queen Ramonda, she was the standout actor in what was for me a very unfortunately bloated movie. And we've had this discussion. I've tried rewatching Wakanda Forever and I can't get through it. It's it's different when you're in the theater and you've paid your bucks and you're sitting down, you can't really get out. But watching it on Disney Plus on my big screen TV with the 4K enabled and the surround sound.
Yeah.
And it doesn't hold up well to rewatching. It is not a patch on the original. Obviously, we have discussed ad nauseum, ad infinitum, the issues that it had to deal with. But it's not a good Marvel movie by the standards of the first Black Panther, and the standards of the other really good Marvel movies. I mean, there's not been a really good Marvel movie since Endgame, in my opinion. But I think Black Panther, unfortunately, continued that trend, that downward spiral that we've started to see that we saw with Ant-Man. So I think there was a little bit of that, a little bit of comic book bias.
Right. But even when you compare it to the Joker, I mean, in my head, I have no idea. I'm totally guessing, but I don't think the Academy sees the Joker in the same realm as the MCU movies, and especially because Joaquin Phoenix, the Academy loves that guy, and a lot of that is deserved, but he has that reputation as the actor's actor kind of thing.
And let's face it, let's be clear here. Angela Bassett should have had the Oscar for playing Tina Turner. What's love got to do with it?
Sure,
all those years ago, 20, 30 years ago, whatever it was. She should have had the Oscar for that one. Absolutely. She just disappeared into the part. She was absolutely amazing. And when you see other characters, other actors who've done impersonations of characters and have got the best actor or actress
Right.
statuette, it really is quite an insult. And I can see why her supporters were pissed. That being said, I thought Jamie Lee Curtis was fantastic in Everything Everywhere All at Once. In fact, the
Absolutely.
entire cast, and it just goes to show that yet again, the Academy, in my opinion, needs to introduce a Best Ensemble award,
Right.
because that whole cast were absolutely brilliant. And at the end of the day, Jamie Lee Curtis was an integral part of Everything Everywhere All at Once, which is a really surreal movie with a lot of multiversal, certainly the best multiverse movie that we've had so far, but also something about a mother and her daughter, and a mother and a wife and a husband, and generational issues and how things change. And I'm not, I'm an immigrant, but I'm not an immigrant of Asian, Pacific, Indonesian descent, and I can't really comment on that family dynamic, but it's how I would imagine that a lot of people from that racial bloc, if you will, have had had these issues with their parents, being under
Oh yeah.
pressure to do X, Y, and Z, always disappointing their parents, even though they're really good people, or the parents, not accepting stuff. So I can imagine that was, quite touching as well. But again,
Absolutely.
fucking white guy over here. I mean, come on.
Well, do you
But
remember that hashtag? I don't remember when it used to be Oscars so white, but
yeah, that was
yeah,
about 4 years ago, wasn't it?
yeah.
2019, I think, before COVID.
So as an Asian American, I mean, I am beyond thrilled that these actors are being recognized, like Michelle Yeoh, who I think I saw her in a Jackie Chan movie more than 20 years ago was the first time I saw her.
Yeah, wasn't she in
Um,
Super Cop?
yeah, yeah. In Hong Kong it was Police Story 2, I think it's called.
Right.
But yeah, that would be the first thing I saw her in. And of course, Key we've seen in Goonies and in Temple of Doom. And one of my favorite moments last night was in his acceptance speech where he gave a shout out to Chunk, because Chunk is actually his entertainment lawyer, Jeff Cohn. And he did that in the post show press conference. He called out all his Goonies castmate. He held up the trophy and said, "Goonies never say die." And I just thought that was
No,
awesome.
that was awesome, and it was great to see what you. And again, I think this is why I liked that Jamie Lee Curtis one as well. Is that you see these genre actors, these actors who have been pigeonholed. I mean, Jamie Lee Curtis
Yeah,
had her, she had her time with regards to Trading Places
right,
and True Lies,
right.
and but then she was the Scream Queen. I mean, that was what she was predominantly known as. And to see these actors who are known for genre movies, whether it be horror or action, to get these awards, or and I mean, it was basically a Gen X wet dream if you think about it, because
Yeah.
we had two members of the cast of Encino Man, or California Man as it was in
Oh,
the UK,
yeah,
and winning Academy Awards. That was just just amazing. And then a horror icon as well. um yeah, I thought it went pretty well, all told. I mean,
yeah.
I haven't seen All Quiet on the Western Front, which was apparently the other
Same.
big, because I just don't really like war movies. I just really don't. I've tried. But I mean, I'd watched Triangle of Sadness, which was absolutely brilliant.
I
Tried
love
to
that
watch
one.
Banshees of Inisherin, but no. I mean, I'd liked In Bruges, but that took
I loved
about
In Bruges. Yeah.
a decade for me to watch it after it came out, and it was on one night, and I just watched it, and I
I like
enjoyed it.
Banshees.
I
I
probably
didn't
would.
watch Whale. Did you?
I haven't watched Whale yet. It's in my queue. It's in my queue. But again, just to see these 80s and 90s,
Right.
actors just do come back, and people over a certain age, especially for women. because it's so shitty in Hollywood to get parts for women over 40 there, and they've been saying this for years. And
Yeah.
these
Yeah.
two actresses, 60 and I believe 64,
I don't
were,
know.
I mean, not that age should matter at all, and I'm only quoting them to give an example of how,
Right.
fantastic it is that they are getting awards, because normally they just get shuttled and it's off to the, to the younger actress. So that was good too. I just, I enjoyed it. The wife enjoyed it. We made some dinner, curled up on the couch.
Excellent.
And it's always fun to watch the Oscars. I mean, in years past, we've done Oscar parties and done Oscar bingo and all that sort of stuff, but those days are long gone because we're old
Right.
now. But yeah, I thought it was a good show. Didn't have
Yeah.
any major issues at all. Did you have any issues?
No, I mean, I was thrilled. Aside from the Asian American stuff, Jamie Lee Curtis is a nerd goddess. I love that she goes to BlizzCon in cosplay,
Yeah,
wearing a mask, and nobody knows it's her. I love that about her.
and
And
she refuses to go to things like the awards dinner
mhm,
because she's like, "Oh, it starts at 7:30. The food's not going to be there until about 8:30, 9 o'clock." And I like to be home in bed by then. I have if they need to do this stuff, they need to do it in the afternoon because Mama needs her bed, and I'm like, "Preach, sister. I'm with you." I don't like going out late at night anymore, and I certainly don't like eating late. And she's just owning it. She's owning absolutely everything.
she's in another video game movie coming up.
Borderlands.
Borderlands. That's right. Yeah,
Borderlands. Yeah. That's got quite a good cast. And I mean,
with
what's
Bobby
happened to
Lee.
that film? But I mean,
Excited.
that movie just seems to have vanished. It's finished shooting.
Yeah,
And I think it's sitting somewhere.
I've heard things. I'm a little scared,
I'm wondering if it's going the same route as Batgirl,
oh, I
which
hope
would
it's not
suck.
a victim of accounting. So,
Yes, which would suck with those bloody accountants getting their way.
yeah.
All right, so that was that. Oscars, okay, great. No slaps. Nobody got hurt. Great.
Go Asians.
Go Asians. Well done,
Yes.
you. Well done, Asians. Bloody marvelous, isn't it? Oh, and seeing James Hong on stage.
Yeah.
Man's a legend. James
Oh,
Hong
and
is an
speaking of
absolute
legends,
legend.
John Williams,
Yeah.
91 years old, nominated for 53 times. I think he was nominated.
And he's
And
only won 5. That fucking sucks.
yeah, but I
Yeah.
mean, that's basically the soundtrack of our lives that
It is,
man
it
has
is, it
created.
is indeed. But he needs to stop working with Spielberg and Lucas. He'll work
Mhm.
on better films. I got no interest in seeing the Fablemans. I'm so glad the Fablemans didn't win because I'm just over that kind of schmaltzy, blah 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 biopic crap. That's why I'm so glad the Daniels won.
Yeah,
I'm so looking forward to seeing what they do next. And who knows, maybe Marvel will try and hire them to inject some life into their flagging
let's
series.
see. So
All right,
Oscars
what's
for
next?
Sunday, and Oscars was Sunday. Ted Lasso is in about 24 hours from the time
Yeah.
of this recording. So I cannot be more excited for a television show than Ted Lasso. How are you feeling going into it?
I am. Um, I'm equally excited, nervous, trepidatious.
Ooh,
It's been a long time
since you
since
rock and rolled.
Nate the Great ripped up the Believe
Mhm.
and left the studio or left the changing room to fuck off to West Ham. I
Yeah.
mean, West Ham of all teams, although they need him right now. Um, yeah, I mean, they'd actually mentioned several times that this was their Empire Strikes Back,
Right.
and it certainly felt that way. It was like wins, losses. The team got promoted, but now, I mean, it's been almost 2 years, and I'm wondering. I mean, the challenge is going to be: is it going to be third time's the charm, or is it? Are we going to get Ewoks? I mean, this is the big question. I mean, that it was filming was wrapped a long time ago. It's taken a long time to edit. Everything's done and in the can and locked and loaded. And I'm just
Right.
wondering if it's if it's going to still the magic's going to be there. Um,
I think it will be. And let's talk about that magic for a second. Let's talk about why we love the show so much. I mean, there's so much of the positive humor. I mean, thing in TV comedy, there was a lot of punching down with things like The Office being so popular. And I think Office is a great show. I love that cringe type of humor, especially the original UK Office, which I think, honestly, I think is the better show. Um,
Can't stand either. So there you go.
but that style of humor, not just there, but pretty much all throughout pop culture, it was that put down humor, like the roasting kind of humor, was prevalent in pop culture. And Ted Lasso comes along with a very different, very positive humor, which, as we said a few times before, it was the perfect show for the pandemic because we were all shut
Definitely.
in and we needed that uplifting kind of tone. And of course, it's just a great show on its own. I mean, what do you love about it, Marcus?
Well, I mean, the fact that season one was perfect. Season one was perfect, and yes, I've said it many a time, and just I am agreeing with you that for the pandemic, when it was hopeless, and we were all locked up, and I was recovering from my bypass. To have a show like this came out of nowhere. I mean, obviously, again, we've been familiar with the character
Right.
from the old NBC sports promos for the Premier League. And initially it was like, oh God, this is probably going to be so cringe, but it wasn't. It was the perfect balm and the perfect antidote for the final summer of Trump.
Yes. Yeah.
Um, I mean, the world was in a horrible place. You had COVID, you had Trump, Boris Johnson in the UK, you had Bolsonaro in Brazil, you had, it was a nasty right wing world, and we were just struggling to see, if we could make it through. There was no kindness.
Right.
And unfortunately, we've regressed to that in a lot of places again after coming out of that initial COVID bubble. And so yeah, it was everything that I think I personally needed. It had the football, it had the British accents, it had the
Right.
very Britishisms. It had Trent Crim Independent,
Yes.
um, and it just it did everything that I needed it to do. And then season two came along pretty quickly. The fact that season two hit the following year, which was great. We had you know, we've had all those ups and downs, and the fact that it's evolved from what we initially thought to be a comedy to be more of a dramedy.
Yeah.
The dramatic points, the things it's touched on, Ted's mental health, the players' mental health, with the advent of the Doctor,
Right.
um, and Nate's descent into the dark side. Um,
But even the
yeah,
relationship stuff, having adult relationships communicate in mature ways when they have conflicts, like when Roy and Keeley first started out. I'm like,
yeah,
this is unusually healthy for television.
it
Like they're
is.
being
It
way
is,
too
and
cool about this.
yeah, the rehabilitation of Jamie Tart.
Right.
Um, yeah, there was a lot about it, and that's what I've loved. I mean, season two is still a tough one to watch, and that's why I hope season three, while not being so, I hope it's not full total fan fulfillment and wish fulfillment. I've got a suspicion that there will be a lot of fan fulfillment, or wish fulfillment there, but I think there will be some negatives or things that will break people's hearts, because we need that to appreciate the ups, because you can't have the ups without the downs.
Fair.
Um, and so it'll be interesting to see that in was it 8 episodes? Are we looking at 8 or 12? This
I thought it was 12, but I could be
Okay,
wrong.
so in 3 months' time, we'll know where we are, because obviously we're going to be talking about this fucking show every week.
Let's talk about the
Yeah,
main cast. If you can give an MVP trophy to one of the leads, and that's a pretty broad definition, who would you give it to? Just from an acting performance standpoint.
so here's the thing: that one of the things I love about Ted Lasso, they're all my favorites. There is not one that actually stands head and shoulders above the rest. The writing is equal
Yeah,
for, you know, Roy Kent to Jamie Tart to
Rebecca
Rebecca
and Ted.
Walton
Yeah.
to Keely to Ted. I mean, you initially think it was, this show just gave off vibes of the movie Major League. That's what I thought it was going to be, and then it's 180 by the middle of the season,
Yeah.
and even characters like Jamie Tart have grown and are now more lovable, and and as you've had these characters all ascending, you've had Nate going into his own world. I
Right.
mean, his fall from grace in the last season, and watching that descent of self-loathing, and then you see where it comes from a father who he craves his approval, and the father's
Right.
an absolute wanker, and I can really relate there. I'm talking about my biological father. But yeah, I mean, you can see that, and his confidence being eroded, and that's where you see somebody like Rupert's getting Rupert. What is it, Rupert?
Yes, it is
Yeah.
Rupert.
Yes. So I was going to call him Giles from a minute, obviously from Buffy.
Buffy. Yeah.
Rupert getting in his ear, whispering where you see it at the funeral.
Right.
Yeah, I just think everybody has had these arcs, and even the episodes that were out of left field, like the Christmas episode,
Loved
where
it.
you had Roy and Keely looking for a dentist on
Yeah.
Christmas Day,
Yeah.
or you had Ted and Rebecca delivering presents, or the other one, Coach Beard's London Night Out.
Yeah.
I mean, they felt like what, but they worked. So yeah, there is no MVP. It's the entire cast and crew. The writers have all been, excellent, and that's the sign of a good show to me. When you can't have a favorite out of this, where one week
Right.
like, oh, Ted Lasso was really good, love him, he's my favorite, and then the next week, oh, that was a Keely show, she's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It is
so
a true ensemble for sure.
Yeah.
For me personally, I would have, if I was forced to give that MVP, I would give it to Phil Dunster for his portrayal of Jamie Tart. Just that character, the way he's grown, he's just an arrogant prick for the first few episodes, but you see him growing more self-awareness, and it's really fun to watch. He becomes more aware of his flaws, and he tries to do something about them, which is something I try to do, and something I think we can all learn from. So I really appreciate that aspect of his character, and he's just so funny. Like, from what I've read, he cracks everyone on set just with his style and the way he portrays Jamie. It's hard for other actors to keep a straight face around him because he's just so funny. And just his little lines, where during the Christmas episode where he goes, "God bless me, everyone." I just the way he delivers that line, it's
Yeah.
endearing and stupid.
You just
But
want to pat him on the head and put him in the corner with
yes.
3 Lego blocks, because any more than 3 and he's in trouble. I do find it very satisfying that his emotional growth and evolution rather as a character coincides with him leaving Man City. Just saying. So yes.
Well, that doesn't work out. Look at Leroy Sané. Where are you now, buddy?
Where is he now?
He's at Bayern.
Bayern. Yeah. He's a Bayern. I mean, I think he's happy at Bayern.
Yeah, he's fine, but he doesn't. Yeah. He doesn't have as many trophies. He still has some, but
he has the Bundesliga every year and the German Cup every year. I mean, admittedly, there's no. I mean, there's anyway.
Who's he competing with? There's one, two. Yeah. Okay. Let's move on to the supporting cast. For the first 2 seasons, do you have a favorite of the people that weren't quite the main characters, but and even then it's kind of broad and borderline, but I'll go first. Danny Rojas. He exudes such happiness and joy that whenever there's a Danny Rojas scene, I just feel happier.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, Danny Rojas and the actor who plays him can do no wrong in my book, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
But I mean, there are characters like Sassy. Sassy just
Wonderful.
turns up, bonks Ted, and then just keeps on going. Keeps on popping up and cheering everybody up, and is the voice of reason, especially during the passing of Rebecca's dad.
Yeah.
Roy, I thought was going to be a supporting character, and he's evolved into one of the main ones thanks to the amazing performances of Brett Goldstein, who that Ricky Gervais series, Derek.
I do not.
It's on Netflix. It's a show called
Okay.
Derek. It's Derek. He plays a socially challenged individual who works at a care home for the
Oh, wow.
elderly. And Brett Goldstein's a regular on that. Young Brett Goldstein, before he decided to grow his stubble. His face is so smooth and baby-like. So yeah, it's before he became Hercules. Again, it's just Higgins. Just
Higgins
seeing
is
the Christmas
wonderful.
episode, seeing that,
Yeah.
looking at the Higgins life when he got fired, when he grew himself a Van Dyke,
Played the
and
bass, the upright
yeah,
bass. Yeah.
yeah. There's just so many, and again, that's the even Rupert.
Yeah.
Rupert is just
He's a
he's the
wonderful
heel.
scoundrel. Yeah.
He is.
I was
So,
impressed by the child actors, and I know a lot of child actors annoy you, but in this
oh,
one,
they all do.
Roy's niece and Sassy's daughter, I thought were both wonderful characters. I love them.
Sassy's daughter, actually, fair, I think she's a little older. Roy's niece doesn't seem like Roy's niece. There is a disconnect there because the accent difference with regards to her sounding like she's born with a silver spoon in her mouth, as opposed to Roy, who doesn't.
Well, her mom's a doctor, so
yeah, that's some of that's a couple of the weak spots in the writing for me. But yeah, I think Sassy's daughter was brilliant in the in the episodes that she turned up with, and her crush.
yeah.
Her crush on Sam
Yeah.
Obasanya. The Sam Obasanya episode where hit the relationship with his father and the total
Yeah.
difference. There's a lot of father-child, father-son relationships in Ted Lasso. Ted and his son being so far away. Sam having an amazing relationship with his father, which I think is the archetype that we would all hope to have.
Right.
Then we look at Jamie and his dad, and we look at Nate and his dad.
Right.
They
And even
really do.
seeing Jamie react to Sam's relationship with his father, and you can see the envy there.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of good dynamics, and there are interesting dynamics to show. All right, what's your favorite Ted Lasso episode?
Ooh, I think it would have to be All Apologies, where Rebecca confesses her evil plot to Ted.
Right. Yeah.
Or maybe, no, I take that back. Make Rebecca Great Again, when they go to Liverpool to play Everton.
Yeah.
And
she just Let It Go, and Ted gets laid.
Let it go. Ted gets laid. Nate's locker room speech. One of my favorite scenes.
What, the speech or him ripping the bench off the wall?
Yeah. If they can damage Goodison Park, I have no problem with it. It doesn't bother me at all.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just glad they were beating Everton and not Liverpool in this one.
I think I'll go with make Rebecca Great Again. Yeah. And yours?
It's the Christmas episode. It came out of left field so much. Christmas is my favorite time of year anyway.
Yeah.
And yes, is it totally surreal and a little cringe, especially towards the end, where we have the everybody singing outside of Higgins' house. But for me, it's Higgins opening up his home to everybody who doesn't have someone at Christmas. That is what the meaning of Christmas is. It's something we do, we do to a much smaller degree here. We have friends who don't have family close by, or if they're not traveling to see family, it's like people come over.
Right.
And that's what it feels like. And giving Rebecca and Ted, delivering those gifts, and the aforementioned niece with a bad breath, and they're caused by a fucking cat. But yeah, I think it's probably the Higgins family. and you
Yeah.
see these soccer players turn up with their traditional dishes, and the
Except for Jan
supermodel.
Moss.
Well, the supermodel girlfriend,
Yes.
and then Higgins's kids, boys are like, oh,
Yeah.
beautiful woman.
But I loved Jan Moss. I brought fried chicken. Oh, is that a traditional dish from the Netherlands? No.
He's so literal, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he's basically the Drax
Yes.
of Ted Lasso.
For the first movie anyway, before he
Yeah,
became a goofball. Yeah.
but if you look the scene where Higgins stands up, and the fact that well, the prelude to this, my favorite scene is Higgins' wife turns to him, I think, and says, "Where are we going to put everyone?" And he
Right.
says, "We'll find a way." I'm paraphrasing. And then the next time we see it is Higgins standing up, making a toast, and it's just this beautiful tracking shot
Yeah.
over the table as it comes. I think tracking shot is the word, and it
Yeah.
just comes back, and he's like, "If you are from Rio de Janeiro
Yeah, right.
or Bogota or
Guadalajara.
wherever,
Yeah.
yeah, boom, boom, boom," and he just reels things off, and it's cheers, skull, and it just all the way down. And you see the tables go up and levels go up and down, and
Right.
that's just.
But part of the table was the surfboard he gave to one of his
Yeah,
sons for Christmas. And
yeah,
I love that little
and it
stuff
just,
like that.
yeah, and then just watching them play with the Nerf guns.
Yeah.
And just having that big, and like I said, if for me, if we don't have anybody buy for Christmas, that's totally fine as well. But
Right.
Just having that life come into your home and opening up your home with an act of generosity,
Right.
that was just great. That was just great.
I also love that they brought the Ussy guy back from the first episode.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
you
love
got
that.
see,
Yeah, I
um,
love that. That character's in like 3 episodes, and I think he just crushed every scene
yeah.
he
Well,
was
let's
in.
face it. Yeah, he only didn't exactly have a lot to worry about, did he? If all you had to focus on was being a
Right.
bit of a twat and asking for an essay. I thought at one point Roy was going to rip his head off. That would have been fun.
So we're going into season 3. Is there anything you want to see different? Do you want the ensemble? Do you want one of the characters get more of a spotlight than the others? What do you want?
No, I just want more of the same.
Okay.
I want more of the same. I want more ensemble. I want to see everybody, evolve or devolve. I want to see more of the good doctor. I mean, even the episode where she got hit on her bike,
Yes.
and you see her character change and evolve, and not how good she is for Ted, and how Ted is, to a certain degree, good for her in that episode where he picks her up from the hospital because she's, like I said, been hit by a bike.
Right.
I don't think we need to see more of the players, because even though it's lovely to see the Danny Rojases of this world, and even Jamie Tart, it could get a little bit muddled and a little bit too stretched thin.
I mean, if this is there's a lot to wrap up.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, and I think we should, I mean, how do you feel about the leads or any supporting characters? Is there anybody you want to see? Let's combine the questions. Are there any characters, period, that you want to see more of in season 3?
This is totally out of left field, but I want to see Winchester. I know next to nothing about him. Just little things, and it doesn't have to be a major thing. Like in season 2, we learned that Bumbercatch does some knitting. So, I would like to see something like that for Tommy Winchester. I think that would be cool. For the major character, or no, I'll stay small. I want to see something happen with Colin. I think he's the only Welshman on the team. And so far it's just him and his Ferrari. I mean,
but he is just a twat. Why do they have to make Welsh people the twat every single time? No, I don't mention Colin. Colin's not a very Welsh name either. So, yeah, let's skip. Let's skip.
Okay.
Let's talk about the big question. And you've got a perfectly, because he's written out all these points, folks. He sent me. I mean, the man has an encyclopedic knowledge of Ted Lasso. And the question is, will Nate be redeemed in season 3? How will his story play out? Now, obviously, there's basically the two options are there's the British version where he is not, and the American version where
Right.
he basically, it's they're playing for the league. It's the final game against West Ham, and he crosses to
The
to
other
hug
bench.
Ted or
Yeah.
something. I mean, there's that American schmaltzy version.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen in the trailer that Ted and his kid go to Upton Park to watch West Ham play, and his kid's in a West Ham jersey.
Right.
I don't know. I don't know what I have to put my faith in the writers.
Do you even want him redeemed?
I don't know, because the Nate of season 1 is gone, dead and buried. There's no going back there.
Right.
And I mean, for Nate to be redeemed, he has to get over his patriarchal issues. He has to get over his issues with his dad.
Right.
Because if he gets over his issues with his dad, then maybe he can get over his issues with Ted, and there can be some sort of bonding. I mean, and it's tough for that to happen, because you can see how Rupert in his ear, says the things that he was been craving. And, when you fixate on somebody like he fixates on Ted, it's easy to misconstrue or feel left out or feel slighted by the slightest thing. I really don't know. How about you?
I kind of don't want it for the exact reason you said, where you have the stupid American version where he crosses over benches and it's all dramatic and just it's silly, that works
unless it's something. Well, I mean, unless it's something like he gets fired by
yeah, that's a different case. But I mean, there is a Will Ferrell basketball movie where a player gets traded to the other team, and in the middle of the last game, he goes back to his old team, takes off his jersey. I'm like, I don't think that's how it works. Like, you just can't change your shirt. Semi-pro, yeah. And that works for a Will Ferrell movie. I don't think it works for this show. But there is one moment in the trailer where he's in that shitty Greek restaurant at the window table that he couldn't get initially before. He's sitting there by himself. He looks pensive, and it kind of looks like he has regrets. So maybe it'll happen, but I don't know if it should. I don't know if you can get over all the stuff he said, like his father issues. I mean, this is
going to be interesting.
A year later, presumably. So I don't know if you can do that.
If it's going to be a year later. I think
that's
it
true.
starts the next season. Know. I mean, it's a few.
Oh yeah. Not even.
It starts on the next season with the team promoted.
Right. Yeah. So it's just months later. Yeah, you're right. Absolutely right.
And so, I've got to, it's. I mean, my worry is that they go into total realms of fantasy and have West Ham performing well at the top of the table, unbeaten or something, and that's just ridiculous for anybody who knows football. They had their good 3 or 4 seasons a couple of years ago, and now they're shit again. So I don't know. I don't want to put too much thought into it.
I
really don't. I just want to take the rough with the smooth. I want Jason Sudeikis and Brett Goldstein and the writers, and I just want them to surprise me. I just want to be thrilled. I want to watch every episode when it comes out and crave the next episode, and just then, as soon as they're all out, re-binge them again. And just to get up on it and just feel satisfied. And if it's the end, done. Great. Give me that perfect 3-season arc.
Fair enough. Now, earlier I mentioned Jan Maas being a new character in season 2. There is a new character from some of the stills I saw named Zava. Do you have any idea about him? He seemed, in this one photo, a lot of people seem to be wearing his kit, so he must be some kind of big deal. Is he?
So here's what I've read. And I have read some things that are a little spoilery.
Okay.
But Zava is a high-profile transfer. He's a high-profile
Oh,
player, incredibly talented,
but
very selfish,
oh,
hogs the ball, and the question is that I have read based on the smart synopsis is, will Ted and Coach Beard tweak the formation and the team to put this guy in? And I don't even know if he's if he comes to them like mid-season. So it's shades of Faustino Asprilla going to Newcastle back in 1996, I think it was, when Newcastle were running away with the league and ended up losing to Manchester United because they became lopsided because they bought this record signing, this excellent Colombian football player who just made them lopsided. And is it a question of team harmonics and the team working as a perfectly oiled machine to throwing this creative super? It's basic. I think he's basically fucking Ronaldo, mate.
That's what I was going to say.
He is Cristiano Ronaldo, or he could be Erling Haaland. He could be Erling Haaland. So yeah, that's what I've read. Maybe bollocks, but that's what I'm understanding.
Although to be fair, Haaland isn't a ball hog because he's not getting the ball.
But again, it's just, but you know what I mean. A player who has to, who comes in, and his style means that you have to rejig everything.
Right.
So yes, I hope I haven't spoiled Zava for you.
No, I mean, I love learning more about him and seeing how he will play out. But I'm excited.
Yeah.
But I hope we get more of Jan Moss's deadpan jokes too.
Just a little. Little. We don't need all of it. All right. Your rapid fire couple round. I'm going to ask you these, and you're going to tell me rapid fire style, because this round is all about what do you think will happen between, and then I'll give you the couple, and you can tell me because you've put way more fucking thought into this than I have. So what's going to happen between, and keep it short, Roy and Keely?
They break up by the 5th episode at the latest.
Keely and Jamie.
He tries to get back together with her. She doesn't go for it.
Rebecca, Roy and Mrs. Bowen, the teacher.
Hot Irish teacher, yes. I think Roy becomes hot for teacher at the end.
Okay. Rebecca and Sam.
They break it off, or they stay away from each other for all the wrong reasons, which is external pressure.
Beard and Jane.
They keep having a horrible, manipulative, unhealthy relationship for the whole season.
Rupert and new Rebecca.
Ooh.
You put it down here.
Yeah, I didn't. I mean, them having a kid is the factor I didn't think about, because I would say if she didn't, if she did she give birth in season 2? I don't think she did. So let's assume they have the kid. They stay together, but she's miserable.
All right, my turn. Roy
and
Keely, doomed to fail, unfortunately. She's improved him. He's improved her. But yes, I think they're going to go their own separate ways, especially with her running her own PR agency. Right. Keely and Jamie, just good friends. She's grown up. She's beyond Jamie. Jamie's not evolving at that much of a pace. Right. Roy and Mrs. Bowen, possible, highly possible. Rebecca and Sam, I agree with you. I think Rebecca and Sam is what they both needed at that time, much like Keely and Roy. Right. And I think they might go their separate ways, but still be cordial unless Sam gets sold. Because it does happen. Beard and Jane, totally toxic relationship. I hope it ends. Beard deserves better. I mean, honestly, it's a total role reversal on the toxic relationship. So I hope it flips. Rupert and new Rebecca, who gives a fuck? I hope they fall off a cliff. Obviously, the one you left off the list, relationship-wise, is Ted. Does Ted get a relationship? Now, a lot of fans on the internet are like, it has to be Rebecca and Ted. They want Rebecca.
Why does it have to be?
Because they see these episodes like the funeral one, like the one in Liverpool where he has his panic attack and she holds his hand and she comforts him.
But you can have friends of the opposite sex.
But I mean, I am looking at it from what the internet has said,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
what a lot of people and are fan fictioning in their minds, because obviously when you had the whole banter app thing, everybody it was designed that Ted and
Right.
Rebecca were texting each other when it was actually Sam. I would like Ted to get some happiness. I don't think he's going to find it with his wife. I would love to see him with Sassy. She's good.
Yeah.
She's good for him. I hope they get a relationship going. I think Sassy's daughter would be great as a big sister to Ted's kid. And I hope that he stays in. I actually hope he stays in the UK, where he in England, where he is. Whether he carries on with the team or goes somewhere else. I would hate for him to say to have the whole and Ted went back to America, where he took the the New York Red Bulls to the MLS Cup and then managed USA to the World Cup final and all that bollocks. I would love to see him be successful, to have him stay in the UK, because the UK's been, him being in England has been good for him and vice versa.
Right. And it's I wouldn't want to see it end up back in America, because the England is a character in itself for the show. Like the setting.
I don't think we'd see it back in America. I just think,
Right.
at the end of season 3, it's like, he's getting on a plane to go home or something.
Yeah. But
I would like to see him happy in another country, away perhaps from America. So
that is fair. That is fair. Now, this show was originally conceived as a 3-part series. A lot of people are assuming that season 3 is it. The creators have not confirmed or denied anything. So do you think this should be a nice little trilogy? Should there be more? Should there be spin-offs? What do you want from the Ted Lasso verse? Let's call it.
I'm happy with 3 excellent seasons. If they give us a 3rd excellent season, I am totally happy with it. Let the characters run their course. We know that this has been a launch pad for numerous actors from the show. Yeah. We've talked about Brett Goldstein going off to do his own thing. I mean, he's co-written the Shrinking, whatever it was.
Yeah.
Show
Shrinkage is another problem.
Another issue. Hannah Waddingham has just been announced that she's in the final Mission Impossible movie, or Dead Reckoning Part 2, which is the final part of. They tweeted a set picture of her in that. I'm sure that Jason Sudeikis, as much as I think he loves being in London and following Arsenal with Coach Beard and just generally being an awesome guy, his kids are in New York. He wants to go home.
Right.
And I think, I think for Ted Lasso I think for it to end on 3 would be great. I think just give us the satisfaction of a good series that wraps up everything. And yes, there have been murmurings that we're looking at some spin-offs. And if we were looking at spin-offs, I would be probably thinking about Keely, possibly Jamie. I'm not sure who else. Sam, maybe. I mean, one of the players, but I mean, it just depends. I mean, even just the club, it could be more about the club under new hands. Does Rebecca sell the club?
Right.
And does it turn into something a little bit different? But yeah, if it ends with satisfying, I suppose I would like to see some happy endings for the main cast. I really would. Just
with a little dirt. It can't be.
You can have a little dirt along the way and bits and bobs. But I mean, unfortunately, it's rare to have shows end really well. I mean, I'm thinking of perhaps two of my favorite shows also, like the last 30 years have been Friends, which ran for obviously 10 seasons, Big Bang Theory, which ran for 12. And I know a lot of people poo-poo those, and those people say, fuck off, it was something I've enjoyed. And the finales, they left me wanting more, which is not the job of a finale.
Right.
Give me a finale. Give me a 90-minute finale. Give me a 2-hour finale.
But at least it wasn't like a Sopranos ending where you're like,
that's just
my TV broken.
I actually think giving somebody a 2-hour finale for Ted Lasso. Make episodes 11 and 12 if they've filmed it that way. Just make them all one episode. Give us something hefty for that final one, so that by the time it's like a good meal. By the time you
Right.
come into that final course, you feel satiated. You were really happy to have enjoyed it and enjoyed every part, but you can't eat another bite. And that's my hope. What about you?
I feel very, very similarly. I want the 3 seasons, and that's it. I'm kind of anti spinoff as well. Although when you mentioned Sam possibly being transferred, I thought for a second that could be a nice little spinoff, or it could be Joey. So I do not want this
Well,
show to have a Joey.
nobody wants to see the show have a Joey. I mean, that's where it may be the club after Ted. And after Rebecca, and maybe Roy becomes the manager. And that's why you see Ted Lasso's story end, and then you see, it being more about the team. That could be interesting, because that can then evolve, and you with that you open it up to new characters coming through every season, because as you know, players play for a club, players get sold, but new players come in, players are out of form, they get dropped. I mean, you could actually do a lot more with it.
Yeah. Just for some housekeeping, IMDb says the 3rd season is 12 episodes, with the last episode airing on May 31st. So
it's either going to be a very good or a very sad June.
I will stay positive, because that is the Lasso way.
Yeah,
that is
Lasso
the Lasso
for life.
Yes.
Okay, so yes, our next episode will be very interesting.
Yeah.
Try not to get too hyped, because I end up, if I get too hyped for something, I get disappointed. So I always go in with low expectations, because I'm British. I am the Hugh Grant on the Oscars champagne carpet, getting interviewed by some model.
I am the Lou Grant. Then
you're the Lou Grant, and I'm the Hugh Grant. I am the old scrotum. So I do want to give you this update on Star Wars Rebels.
Oh yes.
I just finished watching season 3, episode 9.
Oh, damn! You blew through those.
6 episodes left.
Wow!
And so anybody who has seen Rebels and has seen, season 3, episode 9, entitled Jedi Knight, Night, will know what of an episode that is. Thoroughly enjoying it. Glad you recommended it. After this, I'm actually going to go and start watching Clone Wars. I am going to go through it.
That you're enjoying
it's really, it really has. I mean, it's got rid of my prejudices, but it's well acted, well written. I mean, 20 minutes, unfortunately. And this is my one issue with it. Disney Plus and these streaming services, they should just chop the fucking credits off.
Yes.
And just say, do you want to watch this in one block? And I'm like, yeah. And then I'll just pause and resume. But I'm sure it's something to do with SAG-AFTRA or whatever, and their credits laws and everything. But I'd rather have a jumbo set of credits at the end, personally. But yeah, thoroughly enjoying it. I'm learning a lot. The origins of the Darksaber, Sabine.
Yeah. Who are some of your favorite characters, or who are some that you've grown to love? Because I was not a fan of Ezra in season 1, but he grew up.
Ezra can still be a little dick.
Yeah.
He is a little bitch boy at times.
Yeah.
Sabine, I really like.
Yeah.
She's probably my favorite. Just to see.
That's a different kind of Mandalorian, huh?
Different kind of Mandalorian. Ashoka, obviously, flits in and out. What's the other name? The other Mandalorian name? Katie Sackhoff's character.
Yeah,
Bo-Katan. Yeah. Bo-Katan, seeing her, because she was quite dickish.
Yeah.
In the Mando.
You kind of see why.
Yeah. I mean, the way they handled Maul was actually really quite good. The introduction to the Night Sisters, that was really cool. So because obviously I'd experienced them in the Star Wars game,
right?
And it just again, it's a really good ensemble. It is a good ensemble.
Yeah.
And even the droids aren't annoying. Which the only time I got annoyed was when I saw fucking C-3PO and R2. I did not need to see them. I really did not need to see them.
I love
But
AP5. I think that's a great character.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, I'm enjoying it, and by the time we next speak, I will be done with Rebels. So
Excellent. So our next few Tuesdays will be busy, or for me, because I stay up late to watch Mando
I don't.
and
I
Ted
mean,
Lasso. So
so here's my issue. Obviously, it drops late Tuesday night, early Tuesday,
right,
Wednesday morning, and then Wednesday's my busiest morning of the week because I have two sets of physical
right.
therapy back to back. First one's at 8 a.m.
Oh,
So I will not be watching Ted until probably, early afternoon at the earliest, and that depends
right.
on if Sean is home and can watch it with me because woe betide I watch without her. So yeah, so we will see. You might even get a second show out of us this week.
Hey.
Depends on how soon we want to talk about this again. And obviously Wednesdays is double duty with Mando, and we haven't
Yes.
talked about Mandalorian season 3 yet,
Well,
which we should maybe in the next episode.
Yeah, there will be 3 in. What is that? 10 episodes they're doing?
Yeah, we'll be three. We'll be 3 in, and I really,
Yeah.
especially after the last episode and what Bo-Katan saw in the water. That's
Yes.
yeah, that's going to be interesting. So we should definitely maybe our next episode later this week is a Mando Lasso,
Mando-centric. I like it.
a Mando Lasso double bill.
That sounds great. I did want to ask you a question though, because you mentioned Katie Sackhoff playing Bo-Katan in Rebels and in The Mandalorian. Has there ever been an actor that played their character both animated and in a TV show regularly? I'm sure there are. I just can't think of any.
I don't know because I mean it's such a niche thing to do. So
Yeah.
let me ask you.
You're talking about how much you love Freddie Prinze Jr. and how he captivated you throughout Rebels.
Which character was Freddie Prinze Jr.?
Really? Oh,
I haven't paid attention to any of the cast.
he
I could
he
tell. I could tell that. It was Katie Sackhoff.
right. He's Kanan.
Oh, he is.
Yeah.
Oh, good for him. I got no
Yeah.
quibbles with him. I'm glad he's working.
Yeah.
He seems like a very nice man who's who is very happy with his wife Sarah Michelle Gellar. So
Yeah.
good luck to them. I loved Buffy back in the day, and I will always remember Freddie Prinze Jr. as the guy in the '90s who was in all those rom-coms for about 3 weeks.
So
Yeah,
Sarah
I mean,
Sarah actually played one of the Night Sisters in
no,
in
that's the thing. So fair dues. I mean, and that's my issue with animation. If I know it's a celebrity, like a big celebrity,
right.
it takes me out of it,
Right.
which is so different. I mean, I don't have a problem seeing them on the screen as that's so and so, but they're playing this character. But
Right.
yeah, I mean, it's funny. There was a new Batman animated animated movie that just dropped called Doom Comes to Gotham, where it's set in the sort of like in Prohibition times, and it's got this whole Cthulhu kind of vibe to it, and it's a reimagining. It's a different multiverse or different aspect of the multiverse, but without Batman being Kevin Conroy, just don't work. Because Kevin Conroy is just,
He was the voice,
yeah.
the voice.
And I know they've used different actors over the years, but
Yeah.
some manage it, but when it's not Kevin Conroy, it's really jarring. So
I think he's the best, but I don't mind Bruce Greenwood. I think's done some good Batman.
Bruce Greenwood is good as well. But yeah, I mean they've done a few others who just haven't worked out, which worries me. But anyway, I really didn't pay attention to the casting on purpose, and I'm glad I didn't because everybody's done a banging job. Everybody's done a banging job.
Because you would have pictured Kanan on the football team trying to get the nerd to look all pretty.
Don't, thank God. You told me that after the Jedi Knight episode. All right. And on that bombshell, ladies and gentlemen, that's our show for this week.
Yeah,
we hit
so
the 1 hour mark.
bang. Now, guys, for all of you that are Ted Lasso fans, let us know what you're looking forward to. Go through our rapid fire couples list, give your theories on those characters. Let us know what you think of the show, what you want from it. And Marcus, take us out.
And if you aren't a Ted Lasso fan, fuck off. We're not here for you. Oh, hey. Wankers. That's our show for this week, or is it? Will we be back in 48 hours when we're talking Mando and Lasso Mando, Ted Lasso, the Lassalorian? Is that what we're gonna be talking about?
Clan
We'll
Beard.
see. Follow our Twitter feeds to see if we are depressed on Wednesday afternoon. We are all up in this social media thing like hip young people, except we don't do the tiki-talkies or the snappy chatties.
Nope.
But anyway, thank you for tuning in. We will be back very soon, and let us know your comments. Please share as always, because it'll make the show much better, because it will.
Yes.
There you go. And if you don't like the show, fuck off.